So the first topic, family, is going to be on reincarnation. So if we have any questions, please try to focus on that topic for the time being. But yeah, I wanted to start this one with you, being that I believe that you are a reincarnated queen. So we're going to go with many spiritual traditions speak about reincarnation in different ways. How do you understand reincarnation through practice or lineage?
I think that reincarnation is a direct correlation to karma. So, yeah, I think that from what I've gathered from spirit's touching the ground and actually speaking to us, the dimension that we're in right now is the lowest vibrational dimension that exists. So if we are here, we're here because we are reincarnated, and we're here to learn so that we can be able to move on to bigger and better things that are in other places that are not here.
Fabulous. Well, me, are there misconceptions about reincarnation that you feel need to be corrected in modern spiritual spaces? Like, do you feel like people have a concept about it that might be a little off base?
I do. I think a lot of people think that it's something taboo, but it really isn't, because we do go through different levels of growing spiritually and, basically learning. This is learning. We're learning how to be humans. And, we're spirits in human form. Mm-hmm.
Now, Jay, I want to ask you this one because I know you spend a lot of your time helping people and, advocating and things like that. I think this would be great for you. How does belief in reincarnation change the way a person approaches either healing, accountability, or forgiveness?
I feel that comes into a point of perspective how a person feels their moral compass is shifted. When you feel you have this sin or this weight, that is your presence for being here, what we're striving for. Even with the prayers and 𝘃𝗶𝗱𝗲 across many cultures, the prayers are to, when we're giving elevation to our spirits, to drag those sins out, to drag our, our tribulations out while we're here on this plane, so we can reach, like Ms. Boyer said, that other place, that beatitude, that fortitude within our heavenly spirits. So when it comes to in the forms of helping people and how they see and align themselves with reincarnation and their thoughts, what they see as incorrect, what they see as unjust, what they see as karma. Because what I see as, you may tap my hand and I may, cry, and I feel like me crying and you feeling bad, that's karma. Someone may feel, you smack my hand, now I have to get one, even I have to punch you. And they feel that is just karma.
Yeah.
And definitely. How people move through that and experience that in this plane, and the messages we get, whether it be through 𝘃𝗶𝗍𝗲, Ifa, this moves our character, moves our 𝗃𝗏 towards trying to strive to better that.
No, great responses, guys. If you'd all be so kind, production is telling me just move the microphones a little bit closer just to make sure everybody out there is hearing you loud and clear.
Got a question about reincarnation here in the chat, if you don't mind.
Fabulous.
How does reincarnation affects our Oduns of 𝗃𝗏 on a daily basis?
I'm going to give that one to Nicole. Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's a very interesting one. So the question is, how does reincarnation influence our Oduns and our 𝗃𝗏? Well, I think we could always kick it back to like what Boyer said, and Jay followed up with that. Reincarnation has a lot to do with karma. And this is where for this question, I'm gonna tap outside of what our tradition says and look into more about from experience and then what other traditions say. If we're reincarnating, of course, from a spiritist perspective, it's because we are meant to come here. Ifa also says that we all have a destiny, we all have a purpose, we all have something to achieve. We have chosen to come down. That's a fact. And so that is also within Ifa. And then with that, in choosing to come down, we also are assigned an Odu with that. But with this being a panel about spiritism, though, and I want to kind of keep it spiritist focus, we reincarnate again to achieve some sort of evolution spiritually. But also, I want to open people up to the idea about reincarnation is not only just about achieving evolution, it also could be just trying to achieve whatever your soul needs in order to move on and continue.
Yes.
That was also and I've learned that from a personal story in my family. I asked my dad one day, Bobby, do you believe, I've been having dreams, I think I had past lives. Do you believe in reincarnation? He said, well, I asked that question to my great-grandmother, and she said yes. And she experienced reincarnation in the form of seeing her husband that has passed in the form of the baby.
Wow.
So he passed away defending the family. My great-great-grandmother in Oriente, she was the milk lady of Cuba, and her husband was a loan shark in the neighborhood. He fought off people that came in to rob, had an infarto, and passed away. Her muertos told her sometime later, hey, he's come back. You're going to go to this house in this town, and you're going to see a family that has an infant that's sick, and they cannot figure out why. That is your husband there. So she went to that town. She knocked on that door, and she introduced herself, explained who she was, that she was an espiritista, and that she told the family, you can't understand why your baby is ill. And they're like, we can't understand it. And they said, well, it's because the soul within that baby is my husband that passed recently, and he needs to see me. And she went and saw that baby, and she instantly saw the connection. And that baby was able to pass peacefully because it was what my great-great-grandfather's soul needed. So sometimes reincarnation could be from this perspective, we're here to fulfill something, whether it's a full life or it's to fulfill, at the end of the day, what that soul needs in order to move on. So it's not something, sometimes it's not as simple. Yeah, I know, you feel it. Sorry about that. You feel it. Because it just shows like the magnitude of how reincarnation is, how that's what that soul needed and it had to do and it had to complete in order to keep going. And I feel like all of us here are for that. We're here to perform a mission and keep going.
Yeah, definitely. Great response. Wild story. You know, there's only things you hear from the islands, right? 'Cause, you know,
Yeah,
here you
you
come and
only
knock
hear
up
that
on
in
somebody's
islands.
door, like, let me see the baby. They're going to call the cops. But, you know, back when, you know, the world was sound and whole and, you know, healthy, you know, you could accomplish things like that. You know, shout out to the woman who had the courage to fulfill what the spirit wanted. From an Odu standpoint as well, I'll add, it's not a perfect science. Like, some people have the theory that we are reincarnations of people that had our Odu in the past life, or that we're just a reincarnation and redistributed, you know, chemical material of our Odu in general. Then you could be somebody else in the past life that is reincarnated now and have a completely different Odu. It's things that we can surmise or we can suspect, but ultimately until we get back home, we don't fully know. But all of them are legitimate responses, you know, whether it's Ifa-centric or spiritist centric, you know, themes.